You got two.
I said, should have.
I need to call the meeting to order with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It looks like the first thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the June 11th meeting. Do I have a motion for?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All to approve. The first thing I think we need to do before we get into requests for funding is have John gave us the local gaming revenue reports. Everybody should have a copy of that and have John come go over where we are year to date, kind of what's going on with that. If you don't mind, John.
Yeah, and this is almost identical to what I emailed out to you the other day. I made one change in here, and I'll tell you about that first. You've got two different sets of projections in here. One of them is if Belterra managed to cross $75 million in gross receipts by the end of last month, and the other one is if they did not. But the other thing that I've added on here is what percentage of your money is going to be in each month. So because basically a lot of what we're doing with this is taking the uncertainty out of the picture. So in every month you're a little bit further along, and like, for example, it's a little bit different whether they hit the 75 million or not. But if they do, by the end of August, you'll have 79% of what you're going to get this year in hand. And that number jumps up to 92% if they don't hit the 75 million, because you're going to get a lot less money, and you've already got a lot of it. The biggest portion of that will come in at the tail end of August. That's your held harmless payment from the state, and that'll be over $2 million. So that's a big piece of what you've got coming in yet this year. And we'll know Friday about the 75 million, whether they came in or not. That's where the Gaming Commission releases that number.
Because if they don't, John, it's a difference of $1.4 million.
Right. Yeah, if they don't, you're in the scenario on the bottom. And what happens is the first thing the state does at the beginning of every fiscal year is they hold out 33 million for the communities that don't have casinos. So we've got to pay that share based on what we did last year, not what we're doing this year. So it's a pretty big hit if we're going to come up this short in the next fiscal year. But that's why you're here. You're not getting any wagering tax from July to November at all, just because without those lower entry tax rates, it'll take them that long to hit their first 25 million. And then in December, you start getting wagering tax money. The supplemental tax will come in like it always has. None of this impacts that.
John, you're in, again, your opinion, I'm not holding you to it, but you said that if it comes in lower, it's probably going to be about 8% less, right?
As far as if it comes in, if it comes in lower for June, or if it comes in lower for the year. It's going to be it's the total hit off of your gross. This is before you compare with the neighboring counties is 1,480,000.
1,480,000, and that's before we have to split our money with.
Yeah, so I guess the rule of thumb would be, you take 10% of that off for your revenue sharing, which would be, they're going to take that portion of that hit.
But we won't know if they're under until
Friday. This Friday. And then you'll know there's a lot of sway in that $2,289,000 number you see there for that's coming in supplemental in August. It's probably going to be over 2 million, but outside of that, you don't know, because it depends on what every other casino in the state did last year.
That's the only thing that we are at least kind of sure of.
Yeah. You'll get a big check in August either way. It's just we don't know how big until they tally up how all the other properties did.
So I'm looking at your report, the worst case scenario would be, worst case, that we would be about $504,000 if I did your math right, about 504,000 short at 92%.
92%, yeah, that looks about right.
Yeah.
But the 92% is going to come in different months depending on which one you're at though. Yeah, so you're
But
going to
at
be,
the same time,
yeah.
we've already committed off of this sheet. We're sitting here with benefits payout of 1.6 million, the commissioners payouts, all this. If we come up short, then we're gonna come up short in all paying our government.
yeah, I mean, that's how much it could sway. So I mean, that's just something that, and it's, it's, like I said, we'll know which of these blocks we're working off of Friday. And I'll get that out there about as soon as it comes in. And the number, I think I put that in the email, that 5,026,523 is, and there can be adjustments sometimes for write-offs, something they catch after they report, something like that. But that, that usually gets corrected within the next month if there's and if we're, it probably won't be so close that we need to worry about that. We'll probably either hit it or miss it by a decent amount, but. I mean, the write-offs don't tend to be big chunks of money. It might be 100,000 or less or something like that.
That's the minimum stuff. Saying
If they don't meet the
500 would be smaller.
75 million.
Yeah,
All of these guys are gonna get affected that we already committed that percentage to.
There's already payments made out of it.
I know we have a couple grants here. And I'm saying that we don't know what we don't know. We don't. And until Friday comes, that we see the numbers. Are you confident in Friday?
yeah. They publish those dates when they release them.
How soon can we know Friday?
I think the last month it came out in the afternoon, but it just pops up on their website. You just keep checking for it.
I'd make the recommendation, if I have to make a motion, I'd make a recommendation, we don't approve any payouts until we see this number. Doesn't hold up the appropriations can happen in August when we will know our number for what we're gonna get the remainder of the year, right?
Well, we'll know our number for which of these two scenarios we're working with. I mean, any of these months, I mean, they could still have a bad month at some point that would come in under one of these, but I mean, this is for the most part, you're not going to have this kind of sway in anything after Friday. I mean, that 1.4 million that's a wildest swing we've had in a long time in terms of what could happen.
Because if it comes in bad, guys, that means commissioners, law enforcement, SER, all of those, they're gonna get less than what we put in there that the commissioners put in for their percentage. Every one of those is gonna be affected.
Because those percentages were already set.
Right. They're set. Giving money out right now into anything else doesn't make sense. We gotta take care of our governmental units. And it's a shame that it's Friday and we have to vote on this tonight, or we postpone it and say, come back in August.
You're looking at an 8% swing, just even for July percentage. You know what I mean? If they don't come in at if they come in under 75 million, that's an 8% swing in what we've received today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I appreciate your early emails. I do, John, because you answered a lot of questions in your early emails about what this could mean. And I know you're saying in those emails, we've never been this close.
Yeah, we went under 75 million during COVID, but if they go back above the next year, they pay a penalty where you get the biggest part of that back. But if they go under it here with the road closures and just kind of the steady slip, you really can't count on them coming back over it next year. We're probably going to have a road closed somewhere next summer too.
Just another mile down the road.
Anything's possible.
Anybody else have any questions for John? I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something real quick? Because you guys had asked me about the quality of life fund that I had emailed out.
Yeah.
That is gonna be for anything for the betterment, I guess is the word, of the community. So, I mean, the 4-H, they asked for a donation. And I know you want to put them on hold, Matt, but what they're asking for is to better it. And technically, the county owns that land. They own all of that. So, I mean, either we try to help them out or it's going to be our responsibility either way.
I don't think.
I don't think we're saying, I'm not saying we're not helping them out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why
Well,
can't
we
we
got a
use
grant.
that?
That's a request on a grant.
Mhm.
So we wouldn't be voting on the grant because that's not what Life Fund does. We would have to
The
cancel,
quality of life does. Why wouldn't that be for
because that's
betterment?
from casino revenue. That's where that money comes from. And that was the whole issue with the SBOA. How do you manage the grant funds out of the casino revenue funds? The request that both of these units have, the NGOs that are here tonight,
I'm not
is
talking
from-
about the quality of life. The quality of life has nothing to do with the gaming money.
I understand that,
So
but the
why
request is
couldn't-
coming from a grant from that, so
So
we have to cancel those
If you
two.
put that on hold, why can't we grant them that money from there? Why can't we make an appropriation out of that account? There's over $42,000 in that account.
I,
I mean, you guys
that-
can, you have the,
Can we do that? I don't know enough about this fund.
To be
it's
honest,
anything for the
in
better-
talking,
the
hang on,
quality of life.
in talking with everybody,
99, I don't think anybody in the county government is in denial that we all want to help 4-H, the board. Because I personally, I mean, I'm a 10-year 4-H member. I think that it is all Switzerland County. It's all Switzerland County kids and Switzerland County families. So that being said, I think we all want to help do that.
Mhm.
The issue is where the money comes from and how we appropriate it the right way and not affect SBOA.
And so this is
So-
the quality of life fund.
Quality of life fund.
Okay.
It comes from the community foundation and we could get, it varies throughout the years, what we could get. The COVID year, that, I think in 21, we didn't get anything from that. But we have gotten monies from that, so
Do we have any ordinance or any
there is
specifications?
no,
on
other than
anything?
there's no restrictions, it just has to be for the betterment of the community.
Betterment of the community.
And my thing with this, if you're wanting to cancel out the casino, I mean, we have in this casino grant fund that the commissioners created, there's over 25,000 sitting in there. That's already allotted, that's already there. So I'm not saying,
Gail,
if
if we
you're not
use,
gonna want to take it from the gaming, then why couldn't we take it from them to help them? Because if we don't try to help them out this way, the county's gonna have to come up with that money some way because it's
that's
our
not
building.
the, that's not the issue, is not helping them. And
Yeah.
that's your point, and I agree with that point.
The issue
You
is
have
where-
25,000 in there that's designated. If this is per John, when his conversation, I agree with him on what his numbers are. If this comes in lower, our sole responsibility with that casino revenue fund, by the document, by the state, is to take care of the government units first,
Right.
not pay the
And I
NGO.
understand that.
So you don't, giving out the 25,000 right now doesn't make sense. If
And we
the
have
life
funding.
fund is worthy,
We
I
have
think
funding.
we're all,
for
we're all,
Bennington.
we're all on the same
Yeah.
page.
Yeah,
on this,
I'm not-
and I think
But that's what I'm trying
Garrett's
to,
looking into this, and I think what Gail's saying
the,
is a great idea. We can do that. And
I agree
That
too.
makes
the
But that
gaming,
quality of life fund, that came from the community foundation.
yes,
Right.
It come from gaming revenue, and it's
Not-
for the betterment of the community, which would be 4-H, BCAC, those types of entities that are NGOs. And
right.
we wouldn't have to take it out of gaming,
No, and
because
that,
we have that money sitting there just
Sure.
for
Well,
this.
that's what we're
So-
trying to find out.
if
If
we,
we can or not, so it's a mute point.
Yes.
Until we find out if we can or not, it's a mute.
yeah.
It came from the
that's-
local-
That's my concern. I don't know enough I don't think anybody here knows enough about this fund, so let's find out what you can. and
I
can't
asked the
do.
past auditor how it was delegated, and that's exactly what
For
she told
quality
me.
of life of the community.
We
Yes.
didn't have great auditing.
So
for that.
so the quality of life fund is a fund that's funded from our local
Community
community
foundation.
foundation.
And that is with money that was invested by
And then they have specifications where they've just said it must be to improve quality of life. And where are those specifications documented? Did they like say it in
I'm sure the community foundation has record of that.
like,
Well, I'm just saying, instead of turning them down completely today, why can't we just give them a little bit of hope that they're,
That's what we're doing.
That's exactly what.
But again, it's just trying to figure out what we can.
if it is strictly a fund that's been given to us by a local entity, and then we are going to use that for the purpose that it was specified for, I think we can do that. Procedurally, the grant process has been set up out of this other fund, so we probably have to transfer it to them into that fund, and then that fund would pay it out. Why don't I go try to get a hold of somebody from the Community Foundation just to see if they have any specification, because I just want to make sure. it
I was
doesn't
gonna say, I can
change
give you my
something.
brother-in-law.
Is it Ty Sullivan? I've talked to him before.
Yeah, that's him.
I got his, let me try to call him and see if I can.
We'll just table, we'll table that until we get an answer. Sure.
Uh-huh.
So then next,
Well, I just wanted to bring it up because
No,
I know that I emailed that to you guys earlier this week and I didn't get any response out of it, so.
no, I think all along, but it's having to get Garrett to check and see legally how we do it, because this is the grant was filled out on a grant form.
Right,
If that's the case.
but we didn't
could
know that
still
we were
allow
not
it
gonna,
somewhere else.
not give any money out. That's, yep, that's, no, they need more than that, but that's what the, commissioners.
So while we're waiting on that, do we want to just go ahead and jump down to Ryan?
Yeah, I can do that.
Ryan from the AIC fund or the EDI?
Hang out for a DAC, we got just a minute.
We'll get back to you in just a minute.
Okay, a couple of weeks ago when we had our heat wave, the air conditioning unit went out at the animal shelter. We have an almost full animal shelter. So it ended up being a nighttime decision to get it fixed before we lost an animal in there. They had to replace a 2-ton mini split unit. It's at $6,304 even CPI. Monday night's meeting, we all unanimously agreed that we would ask for appropriation out of the rainy day fund because it's not something we had planned for to crash and burn on us.
Right, you guys have money in your account. Why didn't you just pull it from there?
Well, because historically, anytime that something like this happens, an unexpected expense, it's always come from the rainy day fund. Mechanical issues, things that we didn't plan for. If we were gonna put in a whole new system, then we would budget for it. But this happened, it happened night that we had to make a decision. I got a phone call, I made the decision, get it fixed now before we lose an animal.
Which would have been a social nightmare.
Right, we're not gonna go down that road. So 2-ton mini split unit was installed. I believe it was the next morning they came out.
Do I have a motion, or do I need a motion for?
I make a motion that we pay this out of the rainy day fund for the two ton.
Can I get a second?
System.
All in favor?
Thank y'all.
Brian, at some point, I want to get you some questions, ideas I've got for the animal shelter too.
You have mine, huh? You have mine?
Next, then we'll go on to tourism, Mark, Brandy, and Jim.
What is it? Are we doing funding for Morpheus?
Oh, I checked the wrong one. Never mind, sorry, skipped one. Funding for Moorfield, Bennington, and the Tech Bill. And I don't have any paperwork or anything.
So I emailed those to you guys too,
No, I
budgets. Well, typically the commissioners ask for 25,000 to go into Moorfield and into the tech building overall budget. They're not included in the general fund. They are in their own fund, their own entity, I guess you would say, because they do collect income but just not enough to keep it afloat. So last year during the budget season, Jamie Peters, one of the commissioners, had asked that they be included into the general fund. It never did get done, and they never did get funded. Period. After that didn't happen, there was nothing that happened to fund them, to put that money in there. So I've got 2 bills here from the Moorfield Bennington for part of this whole process that, you know, there's a new machine that's going in out there. I guess you would call it a new pump. I don't know what the wording is, but
I don't see an email, so.
I didn't see an email.
okay, well,
So
I can send you the overall budgetary
how much is
status.
How much are the bills that you got?
They usually do 25,000 each.
But how much? are
But
the
these bills here that I have, one is for 3,600 and these are for 2 grinding pumps. And then this one is for 639 and it is for the disconnect, part of the disconnect system. And that's for Moorfield Bennington as well.
So they were both from Moorfield Bennington.
Yes.
So can we just approve to pay those rather than 50,000 or 25 and 25?
Until, yeah. Do you guys get the BSR that Tina sends out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they would be on there as well, Moorfield Bennington's on
And all
there.
those on there.
And that'll show you what they're in the negative, what the,
So tonight we're paying the bill. We're not,
if that's what you want to do, that's fine.
We can decide what we. That'd give us some time to have a discussion with Brian and Jamie and Joe to figure out, or to look at that. Was it in the 2024's budget? It was. It just got forgotten.
When they did their 25 budget for those 2 entities, they were trying to have those put into the general fund. Just so that we wouldn't have this scenario where they're running in the negative. They can't, the tech building cannot fund itself, even with the
Yeah.
rent, because the utilities and what have you.
So we
And the
could pay,
Moorfield Bennington as well,
so we could just pay the bills out of the general fund.
if that's what you choose.
I mean, what do you guys think, Tom? What do you think? I mean, that'd be $4,239, right?
Total, yes.
To get them paid.
Mhm.
And the work's already been done, so I mean, it has to be paid for from somewhere.
Yeah, Wesley's already installed the.
are you making them up?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we pay the $4,239 for work already done for Moorfield Bennington from the general fund. All in favor?
And I'll send those back out to you guys.
Now we'll get them out of the negative. What did we find out, Garrett?
He's supposed to be sending me the grant agreement specifically, but just preliminarily, from his understanding of the grant agreement, this should be an acceptable. And my only concern is making sure that we're using those funds for the designated purpose. Sounds like this is a designated purpose, so we should be able to transfer for those. But I'm waiting to get the grant agreement. He said he'd run back to the office now and send it to me. So I can
So
see that.
let me ask, I know that through the process that we went, everybody's gone through with the state, how we're supposed to do this. So how do we assure that the same formula is being used, whereas, so it goes back to, we're not voting on the grant tonight, we'd be voting off of the lights, the fund.
Well, this would be, what I would say you do is that you would approve the grant. This is still following that same process. You would be appropriating the money from
We would just move it
there
from one fund to the
into
other.
this casino fund that we have this grant set up already in. So really, it's just making sure, I want to make sure that we can use that money and transfer it. My only contingency is making sure that it, and it's not a state fund, it's nothing coming from anybody else, so I'm not concerned about any statute. If it's just this, we just need to make sure we're complying with the grant. If the grant seems okay, then I think it's fine. But I need to see the grant, you should be sending it.
So then we're not breaking, the process is still the same,
Still the same.
whereas
Yeah.
it goes back to the commissioners, they sign the agreement, They still, each one of the NGOs has to show their receipts for every penny spent that they receive.
Yeah, this keeps it in the same process, and we just be transferring the money into that fund so that we can keep,
From the other.
yeah,
I don't know if I could transfer it into the casino revenue.
because it's got a separate,
See, prior life, like I said, the prior auditors that I've spoke to about this fund,
he
if
said that
someone
this
would
has been
come
used
to
for-
the council meeting and ask for money, whether it be prior to having a grant application, the council would vote, say, why don't we take it out of our quality of life fund? That's what it's for.
Yeah.
There was no application, no,
Just go directly out.
So
it
that
comes right out of
basically-
9129.
It basically makes the grant part null and void. It's
You
basically
could do that.
disappeared.
I mean,
You could.
you
can
get,
do it as
you've got
a
3
totally separate
members,
request.
4 members of the 4-H board, they can
Right.
come up and ask for it specifically, void this one out, and it
I'm not-
be,
That's
You
not,
could do that, and it would just take it out of the grant process.
exactly.
does the council then become responsible for the oversight of the dollars?
Of
Well,
quality of life, they've always been.
Well, yeah, and you can give donations like that. Sometimes people ask for one-time donations. And so that sounds like what they've done in the past.
So if we follow.
The problem we had before was it was a direct funding stream where we just automatically paid these things,
And there wasn't any auditing
and there was no process.
from the casino fund.
So should we apply the same rules that the grant has for the tracking of the dollars that if we use these funds, that they come back to us in 6 months, show us all their receipts to the penny?
We never have.
That's,
So
that-
that's what I'm saying, they don't.
that's not but that's the rule now. You
Not
have,
for this fund isn't
I
a state fund.
understand, Gail, I get that. I'm not,
This is a separate fund, but your concern, if I'm understanding,
because we got hit for oversight of passing out dollars out the
There's
ass.
nothing on the paperwork here that says that it comes out of the general fund.
No,
and this is different too, because this is a different type of fund. So this is funds that we receive from a local entity. In my understanding, it comes from the endowment that.
Yes.
yeah.
And so this doesn't have the same problem we had with the casino funds. So we can just do a one-time distribution to these entities if we chose to. And then not go through that process. That's why these funds are separate.
But we still
Just
can't
those.
audit it to make sure that X amount of funds, which shouldn't be any big
Ken,
deal.
that's, yeah, I was supposed to say, we were gonna be doing it anyhow, we have no problem
Yeah.
getting a report
I
back.
didn't figure you did.
Yeah.
Say, and you
Yeah.
can also just say, I'm making a motion to accept the funding request from 4-H and CAC out of this, with the contingency that they come back and provide the documentation they would have had to. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're gonna do that, which sounds like a good fix, we should follow the same process, because as all of you that have read that, one thing that we didn't do in this county, we've never had oversight. We just passed money out and said, we're done with it. We never followed through to see, did the money get used, in fact, for what it was granted for? And I think we gotta be careful that other NGOs are gonna come in and say, well, council, you got this light fund, so we want to use that every time.
It doesn't sound like the life fund has as much money as the, fund has.
Well, and you gotta remember what kind of entities asking for it.
Yeah.
Is it gonna actually better the,
Better than community.
And I'll, like I said, he should be sending it any minute, and I can read you the requirements to make sure you guys are comfortable as well.
So do we want to put
So
something on hold until you get that from him? and move
Yeah,
that?
it should be coming. He said the intent that he was turning around, going to home to get, or to the work to get the agreement.
So we're gonna jump ahead to tourism, Mark, Brandy, and Jeremy.
Well, I think you just got me tonight. Sorry about that. Draw the short straw. So, thanks for having me in tonight. I just kind of want to update you where we are in the process with the park project, where I think we are and where I think we need to go. Just a quick refresher, we got the legislation where we could pass a 3% tax to do a pavilion stage project down at Ogle Park. You guys are eligible to pass that starting July 1st. So we're in that window now. You do have to give 90 days notice on that to all the parties involved, the state. And I think we all agree that January 1st, if we do this, is probably the best time to do that. So what we think we need to do here in the next 30 to 60 days, honestly, because September would be your last meeting before that 90-day window for the first of the year, is get the county and the town together, with tourism and the tourism commission kind of involved as well, to come up with the memorandum of understanding of how this is going to work, who owns what, who pays for what, you know, what the different buckets are to pay for the financing and, you know, stuff like that. My request,
It still comes down to the town owns the land.
Yep.
Tourism being a big component of the wine festival. Wine festival has its own separate, board.
Correct.
Using the park. But it's a matter of, do we want to use entire county funds for something that would be then owned by the town of Eden? So we definitely have to have
well, this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this specific tax is specifically earmarked for the park down there. It's not just a 3% tax that can go elsewhere. Yeah, I'm not sure that's where you were going with that.
3% increase in the innkeeper's tax.
I'm not sure that's where you're going with that, but I just wonder.
Tourism gets that 3%.
Pardon me?
Doesn't tourism get that 3% directly, or is that?
How it works is there would be two taxes now. There'd be the 5% tax that's been there for 35 years. That goes to the Recreation and Tourism Commission and then to Switzerland County Tourism. This would be a separate 3% tax, still goes to Recreation and Tourism Commission, but it is earmarked for the project. It's just not coming to tourism. We can spend it wherever. It is specifically earmarked. And I know we worked, with his office and others, just so that wouldn't happen where, kind of going back to what you're saying, we have everybody with,
But when this project is done, the innkeeper's tax isn't going to drop to 5%. So then in the future, when this project is done, then what does that 3% do?
The 3% has a sunset clause of 20 years. So,
It's not going to take 20 years to do the project.
no, but that's basically paying the debt service on it. If you pay,
Have you gotten permits to build down there? I mean, does
Well,
the state agree that's a floodplain and we're gonna build $1 million?
no, we don't have all that yet because,
Shouldn't you have that?
well, that's where we're at the crossroads where we need to get together as the town and county and start that process to do that before we pass this. I agree with that. I wouldn't pass this until you know that you can do it down there.
Well, and then, I mean, so you got the state permits, then who's insuring this? Because I
That's,
don't know if an insurance company is gonna want to insure something that's in a floodplain.
I,
Who's doing that?
I understand that. I mean, those are the questions we need to answer in the next 60
What
days.
insurance is on like the bathrooms and the buildings that are down there now?
You'd have to ask,
Down.
you'd have to ask the town that.
And
They
Brandon,
would
you're
insure
not
that.
here.
Yeah, but like I said, I think we need to have meetings on the side. There's a couple representatives of the county to work something out and then bring it back to both boards.
Have you filed with the state to see if these permits would be?
I have not, we have, like I said, we're at this point now. We have not taken it further because one, we don't have a commitment to do this yet. And I'm not asking for that today.
It's September, so we only have 2 more meetings.
But,
Before, before we'd actually have to enact, for the.
but we need to know the questions that need to be asked between the county and the town. That's where we are.
So who's gonna get that set up, Mark? Who's gonna get set up a schedule for a meeting?
I mean, I will do it with the town. I will work with you guys and whoever you want to represent on that. I know we get quorum issues and all that, but, that's up to you guys who you want to sit in on those meetings. I mean, I mean, we'll set it up and, like I said,
Before these meetings even start, wouldn't you want to know whether we can even build it?
well, I think
I mean, do you have anything?
I would say this, when we had architects, they were down here for a different project for the town a year ago. And we were down in the park, they met with us and they designed Lawrenceburg stage. And they said they knew all the permitting they would need to do to build in the park. That doesn't mean I have permission to do it. And I don't know the answer completely like you're asking me.
John, your economic development, do you think state will approve a stage down in the flood zone?
Well, they're different. They're look at it and they're gonna wanna know what's going on, but if it's an open sided, shelter, most likely, I mean, it'll all depend on, if they see something they don't like otherwise in there.
It's gonna be built out of steel.
But talking to the engineering company, they felt they would know what permits to get and what they would need to do. As you said, it's basically gonna be a concrete slab. If it was this year, basically the only thing that would have been in the water would have been, support poles and the floor. If you get a 70-foot flood, then we got bigger problems, but,
So basically, we're at the same place we were before.
yeah, but what I'm asking is, okay, now, but we have to,
We have to move forward.
now,
with the meeting.
I'm asking that we need to start moving forward because, yeah, I know we talked about January 1st, but there's that 90-day deadline that kind of puts it out there. So,
And then just to clarify, so there will be two funds.
Yep.
Anything in excess of 5% will be in the tourism capital fund, which could go to three different things to fund a riverfront park and festival grounds, economic development, tourism related purposes, and the pledge of money under blank for bonds, leases, and other obligations. So it could be used, if it's still in, it could still be used for other things if we get to the end of the project. But for the most part, the intention was the riverfront park. I just want to clarify that
So if,
from the statute.
so if after meetings and whatnot, it's determined it can be built, everything all gets worked out, we enact the extra 3% tax in January. So obviously it's coming in January, February, March, April, May.
Yeah.
If by chance it doesn't happen, then those funds could be used for those two other things.
Yes. Economic development, tourism related purposes is very broad, but it all falls under the boards that he already has in
the
place.
commission.
There are some minor changes that if we want to go forward with adopting this tax, I want to make sure that we make a minor change from the commissioner's side of things. It's just the makeup of the boards, and then you guys would enact the tax. So those are just minor things, but the current is all operational. It's all good. And the current board is made up of a proportional share. BB has, I think, 2 members proportionate to the total county population. The rest are county appointments. So the board already is made up of both entities that can help. Everyone has a say.
Is there a commissioner appointed board person and a council appointed board person or not?
I can't remember off the top of my
Yeah, I
head.
don't remember if it went, I don't remember from which way it went. I think it was just technically county appointed.
Most times it is, but I'm not sure if that's.
I don't think we do.
I don't remember it happening that way.
BB
Do
does.
you know, do you guys have a commissioner appointed person on the tourism board?
No, I know the council doesn't.
No.
I think, yeah, and I forget which side did
It's
all
already
the
affiliated.
appointments to the various commissions in the county. And I think it was just part of that whole docket of appointments.
We, we enact this. You guys get the money. Correct.
The tourism commission does. Correct.
Local board.
Yeah.
And so we wouldn't have anything further really to do with it.
Should, yeah, basically. I mean,
We just enact the tax.
yeah. Now, I would think if you, that's where the county and the city or the town need to get together, come up with an MOU, like, okay, this is what we want the commission to do, and this is gonna,
So we enact the tax and then we basically tell them, baby, this is your baby, you maintenance.
that's what you guys agree upon. I mean,
So, Mark, the last question I'd have before,
We wouldn't even have to say it. It would-
I know.
it would be.
Yeah, because it's there.
is there any?
and I think that's, yeah, it's a reasonable expectation or thought of where that might go.
So you have, of course, we were thinking about some wine festival. What other events have you guys discussed bringing into Switzerland County to help scale this project?
Yeah, we would, yeah, this is more than just a Swiss Wine Festival project.
First Friday thing.
Yeah, exactly right. Based on our budget, based on, and this is my thought of what excess funds would go for. You got the debt service, any maintenance fund, and then he mentioned, marketing towards funding after that. That money would help go into programming where we could do, smaller version of what like Lawrenceburg or Madison does. First,
Stop diving events, you could do it.
yeah, exactly right. you know, if we had a pavilion, we could do stuff. I know, I went to Lawrenceburg, Kentucky a month or two ago. They held their prominent, their version of this. So there's plenty of things that you can do with this throughout the year. Um, yeah, this is not, if we were doing it for the wine festival, I wouldn't be standing here right now. This wouldn't be worth the time or effort for for 2 days a year, 2 or 3 days a year. I expect this to be used April or May, depending on the river and weather, through October, honestly. If we can do programming, you know, each month throughout the year and then build each year off of that, that would be my goal for it. Other people may have other goals. I mean, you might have different visions, but that's where we all need to get together. We'll try.
Mark, is there any other entity that you are aware of in all your discussions that wants a revenue share off of this?
Nobody said anything to me.
So Town of Beebe, I thought I heard that the Town of Beebe said they want some revenue share, but it's their park.
That's news to me. I have not heard that. Doesn't mean that has been said. It just hasn't been said in my company. Like I said,
Irregardless, the tax is gonna go to tourism.
yeah, it's the tourism commission
Yeah. it just-
will allocate the funds.
Being used for it.
So, yeah, the town of Evie could want all of it and the commission could say no. It's really that simple. You know, my intention of this all along was build a facility, build a, maintenance fund for it, just because it will need maintenance throughout the years. And so we keep it maintained. And quite frankly, early debt retirement would be my first goal on it. And then money for, programming. That's it. I don't want this to be an ATM machine for other projects around the county or other groups. Try to keep it simple. Like I said, if we can make this a 15-year tax, that'd be awesome.
So you'll follow up.
Yeah, we'll follow up and try to get some meetings up, but I think our goal needs to be, best case scenario would be a month from now, but that's not realistic. But I think we need to have something in place, ready to go. If we're gonna do this by your September meeting, because your October meeting gets you inside that 90-day window. If we're gonna do
Who would be
January 1st.
responsible for engineering plans for everything else? Would that be tourism?
I didn't hear what your question was.
Who would be responsible for engineering plans for permits for everything else? Would that then be the town of Beebe?
If that's my opinion, if that's what the county and the town decide that, okay, this is Vivi, your project, you're in charge of doing it. Yeah, I would say so.
But that's why we need to have that meeting.
Exactly right. We need to
Have
have,
to do the memorandum of understanding.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there needs to be a memorandum of understanding in place before you pass this tax. I wouldn't ask you to pass this tax and then let's hope we get a memorandum, because that'd be irresponsible.
Okay, so moving forward, then you will work on a date, get a date or. get
Yep, we'll work on
something
dates
set up,
with you guys.
get a meeting set
And
up.
it could be a joint public meeting or whatever we need to do, but, I think our goal needs to be your September meeting, at the latest, but that's probably the most practical date.
Well, the September, if we have to vote at the September meeting on installing the tax or not, I personally would like to have it before then.
Yeah, and we're gonna be getting into our very busy season.
Exactly.
I mean, sooner is better. I'm just saying that your August meeting, you think that's doable? I'll leave that up to you, but,
Pick a date and
okay, I'll give it the town.
we'll all have to have somebody attend.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Pick a date and send us an email.
Yeah.
Somebody will respond.
Sounds good.
All right, great. Thanks, Mark.
To answer all your questions.
I'm good right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to Derek. Did we get an email yet?
Yeah. It is very broad. Activities may be supported include limited to education, community development, health and human services, the arts and culture. So very broad, gives it to us. You guys can grant that and they will comply.
We can make it straight out of that fund, we don't have.
Yeah,
Right.
if we're just gonna give it as a gift straight out of there, and then they will come back later.
And let us know what they use.
They
it
said
for.
they will.
Right.
So
Then I'll make a motion that we fund the $25,000 from the Fund of Life. Fund,
Quality.
Quality of Life
Quality.
Fund for the Switzerland County 4-H Fairway. All in favor? Passed. Sorry, it took us a second. And then we move on to the CAC funding request.
Motion that we fund the CAC for $6,000.
Do we have any, were there any questions yet? Did anybody have?
We talked about this last meeting.
Yeah.
And I wasn't here. Yeah, I was coming back.
I think the one question that came up was because the report said it, I think it serviced, I think it was 364 Switzerland County families and or children since 2009.
Yeah.
So
300.
my question was, 2009 was a long time ago.
Uh,
How many were serviced, say, in 2024, in 2024?
I've got all those numbers here. I've got information for you, all the numbers from 2009 to today. These counties are,
Just make sure everybody else.
these counties are the ones we mainly serve. Switzerland County was in our original charter for organizing the CAC. It's the Region 15 that covered the Indiana State Police territory at the time. And it was the 6 counties. And so Switzerland County has always supported this generously, and I'm very grateful for that.
So the difference, the highlighted yellow versus the ones that aren't highlighted, what's that?
Yeah, those are just other ones that we do a lot of.
I got,
I just
Do
put it
they
in.
donate?
Some of them do. Yes, I
Who
asked.
doesn't donate?
Let me get back to you because we have a lot of counties and I'll check my records, all right?
So, okay, I'm seeing out of the 2024, and I'm gonna go back to our last meeting, why we turned this down, is we're looking on our side to support what happens in Switzerland County. So the question is, that I think Patty brought up, and I don't want to go back to me, I know it wasn't recorded, but from what I remember, her exact question, and we agreed with her, was you have a budget, what is your annual budget? And then what is our percentage of that budget as Switzerland County versus the other counties that, I guess, participate?
because like in 2025 already, there's 48 from Jefferson, 44 from Ripley.
Yeah.
24 from Dearborn, 21 from Decatur, and 5 from Switzerland County.
And
So
then
I
20,
guess then what we're asking is if it's a $6,000 request from Switzerland County, what portion of the budget is being made up as other counties?
Yeah.
Because just to be fair.
well, Jamie kind of went over that at the council meeting on Monday. And Dearborn County has used to give us $50,000 a year, and Lawrenceburg $100,000 a year. They've cut that in half. Jefferson County once gave us $100,000, but that was $25,000 a year. Ripley County gave us $18,000 last year, and these are just the counties that generally serve us. Decatur County, they broke theirs up, and I think it was, they get us more money when they had the ARPA funds, and then they were about $9,000 from the county. I wasn't here then, doing this job then, and $3,000 last year from the Greensburg Police. So they break it up, and then the Decatur County United Fund gives us $38,000 annually. So different counties, especially within our original region, do support us. Switzerland County always has. And I guess the thing I'd like to impress on you is it's not like we're looking for business. In 2014, we had 42 kids from Switzerland County, and it's a service that nobody else does. It is the best way to handle these cases of child abuse anybody's ever found because it's less traumatic for the kids and it's cheaper for the investigators. It's faster. It's just a better way to do business. And it reduces the trauma much earlier for the children, which is a long-term investment in the future because those children, I can tell you all about this ACEs study if you want to hear about it. It was by Anda and Folletti doctors, a 10-year study of adults who started out morbidly obese. And they asked them a bunch of questions, and the questions about their childhood, they found as a result of this study that the more adverse childhood experiences, which is sexual abuse, physical abuse, your parents are in prison, somebody's an alcoholic, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, if you have, they had like 10 of them. The more you have, more likely are you to have substance abuse and cancer and die early and insured. There's all kinds of studies about that. So if you look at the kids who do come to us, the 42 in 2014 or whatever, and if we mitigated that trauma, we're saving a lot of money in the future for,
Just to the extent I can add some context, just to help her out, and I'm not saying one thing or another, I'm here just for legal stuff, but just like my experience for you guys, just so you know how these numbers are derived. These are numbers that are not controlled by anybody. It is just, is a crime being committed that you need to take a child? So I've been a prosecutor. I know Ryan's been a detective on the other side of these. And so you could have a week where you send 10 kids to the CAC. You could have 3 months go by with no kids.
Yeah.
So the question is, do you have people submitting complaints of this nature? Or do you have a child that is a witness? Because the interviewing tactic is non-biased, because your intention, if you have just a detective interviewing a child, sometimes there's an inherent risk of leading that child into making some disclosure. This is attempting to not do that. That's why the numbers fluctuate. It is completely dependent on the nature and the number of crimes to get reported. I just wanted to add that.
And we all know a lot don't get reported.
There's a lot that doesn't get reported, so this is just those that do.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, when I was a prosecutor and I was on call, I could have 3 in a week, or I could have go 3 months and never get a call.
Yeah.
Sarah, you said that Dearborn County this year gave you guys 75,000. So I just did some quick math. Vocalize it. 75,000 divided by Dearborn County, 1643 total kids. That's double check my math. That comes out to $45.60 per child. Is essentially what they donated.
That was 1643 for all those years since.
Yeah,
2009.
yeah. And if you do the same for us at $6,000, she's asking for it, divided by the 347, it also totals, that comes from $17.29 per child. So,
But
But I
Didn't
think
we
what,
say Monday night that
the
it
question
costs
was
around
last week is,
1,400?
what is her biggest, what is your budget? What is your operating budget for this?
it's about $1 million. We have 9 full-time people and 3 offices, and we serve a large region of mostly rural people that travel a lot. We don't turn anybody away, and so if you don't want to fund us, we'll still take
Well,
Switzerland
you
County
said the
children.
VOCA, it's not the VOCA, it's matching. You can use it for match money for your VOCA grant.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and
if we're giving 6,000, does your VOCA grant also match the 6,000? Which would make it 12?
they give us $327,000 this year and $335,000 next year. And it pays 80% of our payroll. So that matches just the other 20% that we report to VOCA that we get it from government.
we use 4.7% your services. And you're asking us for 0.6% of your budget.
Well, if you think that's not fair, that's fine. I mean,
My point is that sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
No,
that's not the,
I think it's totally fair. It was just a question of, in the past, we couldn't get answers to some of the questions. You know, to see, you know, were we at 6,000 and Jefferson County was at 6,000 too? You know, that was more, was it appropriate for
Yeah, and
local service from the
we
county?
I
can't,
think we're getting lost in what our role is here. And, Gary, you're here. I don't want to go back through the whole minutia. This is coming from the casino revenue funds. And the issue was that we didn't have, the grant comes off of the casino revenue fund. The issue was in the past, we didn't handle that way. So the commissioners have clearly asked you the questions. They're the ones that say whether a grant is acceptable or a grant isn't acceptable. That's not our job, that's their job. Our job is to make sure from a financial standpoint, using those funds, that we're getting the benefit out of it. That's our job. Solely our job is the benefit. In the past, we got taken advantage of, not maybe by you, but by other NGOs that were collecting casino revenue dollars, something that Ryan brought up just the other night. These other counties had borrowed it. So our job now is, does it make the most sense? I agree with you. My math is the same as yours. This group is less than 1% of the annual budget. It makes sense. I think,
And we can fund it from the same fund that we just funded
Yeah.
the 4-H from,
Right.
because it is for the betterment of the community.
so I'd be in favor of $6,000. Let's move forward.
Make the motion now.
Okay, there was a motion made on the floor by Gary, though.
I made a motion
Before the
to
discussion.
approve the
Then I'll second
CAC
it.
out of the quality of life fund for $6,000.
And I'll second.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you didn't.
Okay.
Who's second? Because Matt
I
second,
did.
Kim second. Okay.
Or mine.
Yeah.
That's what matters. Well, there were questions, Carrie. You weren't at the meeting last time.
I was at the meeting Monday, and so I'd already heard her whole thing, so I was here Monday.
But at the last council meeting.
Yeah.
When we had asked the question.
I was trying to get caught up. in it.
I just think
I couldn't
for,
hear it
for,
Monday.
for next year or the years after, the NGOs have to do a good job of explaining where their finances are. I know that's not how it's been done in the past, but that is the rule now. And that's our job. That's solely, whether the commissioners say it's a good grant or a bad grant, that's solely on them. I think CAC is a very reputable, good organization. But last month it was, we just didn't have enough of this information for us.
Yeah, and I wasn't here. I was out of town, so I apologize.
Well,
just-
it's new. This is, the whole process
Whole
is new.
process.
Right.
Garrett said
That's
that
right.
before, it's brand new, so we're learning.
Just a question of follow-up. In the past, we had to submit quarterly reports like county gigs and that kind of stuff. Or do you just want the dollars and
No,
cents?
that's not us. That falls to the
Okay,
commissioners.
okay, so you want the money reported and they get the,
They have the
They get
ability to
the
say
details.
what financial committee who's doing the oversight. They didn't ask us to do the oversight, so the oversight's on them.
okay,
We just approved where it comes from.
Yep,
okay.
we're just doing the appropriation.
Okay,
They're
okay.
accountable for all your decisions.
Sarah, you can just send it to me and I'll send it to them, or you can come to a meeting. Whichever.
Now, update on meeting recordings of the county website. The
Okay,
county
so-
recordings,
I've been working on the county recordings, and I think I had them all done through 2022. They're on a YouTube channel. I haven't I posted the link on our county website for the YouTube channel, but I would like to move that to our IT person and have our IT people start doing that, because I am not an IT person, and anything goes wrong, I do not want that.
Yeah, but we don't
we don't have. an IT
own that, so that's a commissioner issue. That's not, council has nothing to do with appropriating the,
Right, right.
Do we have an IT person? We have an
Already
IT
taken.
person?
Marty is our IT guy.
Marty is.
I mean, they're in control of it. I mean, I had no issue with it, Carrie, but that's their decision. They gotta be the ones to make that.
I can talk to him about it some more. I've talked to him, you and I spoke, and I can talk to him some more about it.
So 23 and 24 and 25 so far are on.
No, they're all on there, all the way back to 22.
Oh, okay.
They're all the way back to 22. I think there was one that was deleted on Facebook that I wasn't able to go back and get.
Okay.
But that was our May, I think, commissioners or council meeting. I was out that week for surgery. so-
Yeah, and we did.
And I just didn't.
We don't want to record it.
Every meeting is recorded. I get it. Matt made the comment earlier that the meeting wasn't recorded. I have the meeting recorded on my iPad. That's how I get my minutes, no matter, I don't go back and listen to it on
Yeah, if
Facebook.
you went to last month's meeting, only like 5 minutes of it.
But I'm saying the minutes
So how does, a-
reflected about what the
right,
question.
so how does a person from the public get a chance to
They
see
can
that?
come and they can listen to it, or I can send it to them if they'd like.
So you recorded on your
I recorded.
iPad. while
So
we're-
that would falls into that second part, because I've got calls. Our
Send it my
website
way then.
isn't updated. You can't put anything out. There's no information. I just think I know I've had calls about the website. The website still shows past, elected officials that are no longer in their positions
Where
out
are
there.
we on?
In the last meeting, I explained to everyone that August 1st is going to be
Yep.
so everybody should be aware, if they watch the meetings, they should be aware that with the Facebook meetings, that the county website will be updated August 1st.
So we can put. that on
Training
the
is supposed to
Facebook,
be,
that the website will be.
Yeah, I
updated
can.
on
I haven't, but I can.
August 1st.
it could be sooner, but I'm not going to say that.
Switzerland County Government Facebook page. Who can post
The
off?
website,
Anybody
No, the
can, or not
Facebook.
anybody, but I can, Gary can. I think
Randy
there,
gave me
The Switzerland County Government.
Jenny can, Owens,
So we can put that on there August 1st, the website.
it could be sooner. The training starts next week on the 17th for department heads, just so they have the,
Be able to update it.
yeah.
Then board reports. Are there any board reports? Yeah.
Fire chief meeting.
Didn't have a recycling board meeting.
Nope.
No board reports. Motion for adjournment. Or is there anything else? Anything from the floor? Everybody looks so excited. Doc?
So I'm kind of trying to understand some of this government organization grant process. So is this fund, there is a fund that's indeed for that? Is that right, Gail?
There, the NGOs that they were talking about with the application and the process, that was for the money that the commissioners last year took percentage of the casino revenue to set aside specifically for this.
Okay,
For people to come in and ask.
so is
There's
that
a
going,
quality of life fund.
right,
that
I,
pays out.
I understood that from
Yeah,
today.
okay. So that's the-
And I'd kind of forgotten that was around there, but
Yeah.
anyway. So is that going to be a reverting fund or a non-reverting fund?
The quality of life,
No, the non-government organization.
It's in the
Whatever
casino revenue.
casino Revenue's in there, Doc, so I think each month. so
Well, no,
far,
but I'm saying at the end of the year,
$5,000.
well, what I'm saying is at the end of the year,
it'll be,
you may be honest with this, is that going to go back into the general fund or is that going
no,
to be kept?
it's in the casino revenue fund. It's in 1191. So that's going to be accruing. So let's say there's 25,000 in there right now. And our casino funds do dwindle down. Then that may be that all that stays in there until
Right.
the end of the year until the beginning of
So I guess
next year.
another question is, what happened
So-
last year? Last year,
There was no money set aside for anything last year.
so that was just a bunch of BS that that was going to be settled up in November for non-government organizations.
we got less than what we had planned. That, again, what the questions you're asking us to do, the commissioners, the casino fund is solely theirs. We don't have anything to do
Well,
with.
that's not exactly true, because when I sat here and read and listened to that ordinance being read, basically you also have the ability to negate that and send that back to the commissioners like you did from before.
Not the percentages that we get.
No,
money
not the
goes in there,
percentage that
so-
you get. You have the ability to not approve a grant that's brought in.
Yes, we do have that ability.
Okay, so that's not what you said a while ago. I want everybody to know
What did I
that.
say? Well,
You said that you would, the council strictly appropriated the dollars. Once the commissioners had listened to these grants and decided that these grants were good or not. So that's not exactly true.
But we can't, Doc, if they appropriated over, like in May, we had 55,000.
Right.
What was sent to us on the grant proposals from the commissioners was well over that.
Right.
There wasn't enough
Right,
money.
right, right,
for What we were
right.
sent.
Right, I've attended most
So
all
we
these,
have
yeah.
to-
and the
we have to
commissioners,
look at that.
I mean, if you've seen this sheet, you can have it if you want. I've got more than enough. There's no NGO is given any percentage.
Right,
The commissioners have the right to say, if there is money left over, they can take that on their basis. They don't have to leave it there for NGOs. They may have issues that they need that money for, and they can move it to another account inside of it.
and I got one of my questions. I just wanted to know that this fund is not reverting. This fund is not reverted at the end of the year. Okay,
It just stays in the casino revenue.
Okay.
And like, right now, that's the percentage. That's how it's gonna stay until they decide, hey, we gotta do something, like Matt said,
Okay.
the money's not coming in.
Okay.
At the end of the year, they may take it all back and not, I don't know.
And from a
We
process,
can't really speak for them, how they're gonna handle that.
Right.
and from a process standpoint, one of the first things that they asked me to do when I came in here was help fix what was a problem before, was the funding of non-governmental
Right.
entities. 'Cause I
Right.
guess they used to just get a direct distribution.
Right.
Yes.
They really can't do that.
And we got no support.
This is supposed to just add that transparency in, just so we have a process to cover.
right. But I want everybody to know that also the council can basically disagree with the commissioner's decision. It's not just strictly financial. And I didn't realize that would be written into that, but apparently it is. All right, thank you.
Anything else to report?
Is there any questions I can answer on the quality of life fund, just to make, I just want to make sure we're talking to Gary just a moment ago when you called, but we get to go.
I think we're good to go.
Okay.
Thanks.
Good deal.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Do you have a motion for adjournment? Side motion, Terry second. All in favor? We're adjourned.